Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the brilliant philosophy behind one of the most culturally massive films out there, Three Idiots. We aren't just going to recap a movie here. No, we are totally unpacking a masterclass on alternative education, the glaring flaws in how we do schooling, and what it actually takes to pursue genuine excellence. So get ready, because this philosophy, it's the kind of thing that completely flips how you think about learning, schooling, and what it means to be successful.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Listen to this absolute gut punch of a doctrine from the Imperial College of Engineering, straight from the formidable director Virus. Life is a race. If you don't run fast, you'll be like a broken egg. Boom! Right away, that throws us into this high-stakes, hyper-competitive ideological battleground. You're looking at a system built entirely on fear and conformity, a place where surviving just means ruthlessly outperforming the person sitting right next to you.
Which brings us to Section 1, the pressure cooker.
So, Director Virus proudly runs this insanely unforgiving system. To put it in perspective, out of 400,000 applicants, only 200 get accepted. It's cutthroat. He literally compares the students to cuckoo birds, compete or die. The ones who make it are the ones who violently push the other eggs right out of the nest. But man, this intense competition comes with a devastating human cost. We're talking about a region that ranks #1 in student suicides, with an attempt happening literally every 90 minutes. It's heartbreaking. And the tragic death of the student Joy Lobo brings all of this into incredibly sharp focus. Our protagonist, Rancho, steps up and confronts the director with a brutal truth. Joy didn't die of a disease. He died from the suffocating academic pressure. The institution isn't really a college. It acts way more like a literal pressure cooker, prioritizing rote marks and chasing lucrative overseas jobs over any actual human well-being or real innovation.
Let's move to Section 2, rote learning versus understanding, and see how this builds.
So in this world full of robotic students who are just remote-controlled to memorize textbooks and pass exams, Rancho totally disrupts the status quo. There's this classic moment where they're asked, what is a machine? Chatur, the ultimate rule follower, regurgitates this verbatim, incredibly complex textbook definition full of jargon about relative motion and fulcrums. But Rancho, he pushes for genuine understanding. He basically says, look, a machine is just anything that reduces human effort. A pansip, machine. A spinning fan, machine. It brilliantly illustrates this massive gap between Chatur's blind memorization and Rancho's highly practical, grounded comprehension of science. And as Rancho so wisely points out, memorizing might get you through 4 years of college, but what about the next 40 years of life? Think about that. Chatur's method of just blindly cramming words without understanding them might score him some short-term grades. But, as we see when Rancho hilariously swaps out the words in Chatur's big Teacher's Day speech to totally disastrous effect, rote learning basically sets you up for public failure and a lifetime of struggle when you face real, unpredictable problems.
Okay, let's lighten the mood a little bit and transition into Section 3, the All Izz Well philosophy.
Surviving in that kind of intense pressure cooker environment? Yeah, you're going to need a serious psychological coping mechanism. And that's where All Izz Well comes in. Now, it isn't some magic spell that suddenly makes your problems disappear. Not at all. It's actually a psychological trick to fool a fearful heart into finding the courage to face those problems. Rancho shares this amazing little anecdote about a village watchman who used to patrol at night shouting, "All is well." The villagers slept totally peacefully, only to find out way later that the watchman was practically blind. Shouting "all is well" didn't actually stop any thieves, right? But it gave the villagers the immense courage they needed to endure the night. It's about telling your heart everything is fine, not to fix the issue, but to give yourself the raw strength to tackle it head-on.
Which leads us nicely into Section 4, confronting fear and expectations.
So the crucial point we need to look at here is how Rancho's philosophy actually empowers his friends. Take this incredible line, "Don't marry machines if you love animals." This perfectly captures Farhan's agonizing journey. He's trying to confront the suffocating expectations of his family. His father sacrificed absolutely everything to make him an engineer, but Farhan's true, burning passion is wildlife photography. Rancho essentially pushes him to realize he has to let go of the safety of that engineering degree. He has to sacrifice that familiar approval to pursue what he actually loves, and he does it. Farhan finally gathers the courage to send a letter to his idol, the famous photographer Andres Van, and ends up landing this amazing apprenticeship in the Brazilian rainforest.
Then there's Raju, 16. That is the exact number of broken bones Raju suffered after a truly tragic suicide attempt, one born completely out of extreme pressure and a paralyzing fear of failure. But you know what? Those 16 broken bones ironically became the ultimate catalyst for his transformation. Spending 2 whole months stuck in a hospital bed recovering gave Raju the time to finally shed those deep-seated fears. He actually drops the superstitious rings he used to wear on his fingers, totally abandons his anxiety, and decides to face his big corporate job interview with brutal, uncompromising honesty.
And during that interview, when the corporate executives tell him he is way too straightforward and demand that he change his attitude, Raju delivers this absolute mic drop moment. Keep your job, I'll keep my attitude. And guess what? Raju's success in finally getting hired happened precisely because he chose to be a straightforward, fearless individual rather than a terrified, conforming yes man. He flat out chose honesty over fear.
Now get ready for Section 5, Practical Engineering Under Pressure.
All right, this is it, the true test of everything these students have actually learned. A severe, chaotic storm hits the campus. The roads are entirely flooded, ambulances are absolutely useless, the power completely goes out, and a highly complicated medical delivery needs to happen right then and there. This is exactly where rote learning completely fails, and practical, hands-on engineering has to step up. They have to literally improvise a vacuum extractor on the spot. First, they rush to source car batteries and an inverter just to restore power. Second, they repurpose a standard household vacuum cleaner to create suction. And third, to ensure the baby is actually safe, they build a makeshift vacuum gauge to perfectly control the pressure. It's absolutely incredible. When textbook definitions and standard operating procedures fall apart, applied science under extreme pressure is what actually saves a life.
Let's wrap things up with Section 6, Chasing Excellence, Not Success.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the payoff we get 10 years later, out in the stunning landscapes of Ladakh. We finally get an answer to the age-old question, who truly won the race between the rote learner and the freethinker? The contrast in their ultimate outcomes is absolutely night and day. Farhan, he followed his passion and is out there publishing highly successful wildlife books. Raju embraced honesty over fear, and now he has a totally secure job and a genuinely happy marriage. Then you have Chatur, the ultimate rote learner who chased strictly after traditional success. He's now a highly stressed out vice president desperately chasing down a business deal. But here's the ultimate twist. The brilliant scientist with 400 patents that Chatur is practically begging to impress, the highly coveted Funsuk Wangdu, it is none other than Rancho himself.
And that brings us to the absolute core takeaway of this entire explainer. Don't chase success, chase excellence. Success will automatically chase you. It's so profound. If you merely chase success for the sake of wealth or status, you just end up becoming a stressed-out, well-trained machine. But if you passionately and relentlessly chase excellence by deeply understanding your craft and actually applying it to the real world, success literally has no choice but to hunt you down.
So, I want to leave you with one final, totally crucial thought to take away today. When you look at your own education, your career, your everyday life, are you just blindly running a race because society told you to? Or are you truly chasing excellence? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.